Hello, and welcome to the Healing Our Industry podcast. This is a space where we facilitate wholehearted conversations and cultivate meaningful connection and belonging. We believe that in order to heal our industry, we must first prioritize our own individual healing. So take your seat at the table and join us for powerful, wholehearted conversations. Together, we can begin healing our industry. But before we dive into today's episode, let us make this very clear. You belong here. You are done trying to prove that you're enough. You are no longer trying to prove that you are worthy. You now choose to accept these statements as irrefutable truths. This version of you is enough and worthy of everything that you desire. Are you ready to release those old beliefs and build your dream life from a place of abundant alignment? Are you ready to own your power and expand into the best possible version of you? All right, let's go. Hey, y'all, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm so glad you're here today. Today is going to be a good one, and I'm excited that you're here to listen to this because I feel like this topic that we're about to dive into is very important for our own overall health and well-being, and just simply, I'd like for us to think of it as like a self-love action. Okay, so I'm getting a little too ahead of myself, so let me back up. Let me give you a little bit of the behind the scenes story of what I've been doing. So I've been doing, well, y'all know, if you've been listening for a while now, you know that I have a bachelor's in psychology and a minor in arts. The arts is just for fun, but the psychology part is the part of my brain that is a scientist, that asks a lot of questions, that asks other people questions, and then I gather information to bring it to people and to talk about it here and see what everyone's like idea, or even if it's valuable information, see how it can help us and talk about it. So I have been listening to and talking with, and honestly, just doing a lot of observing from a lot of specialty artists, whether they do nails, extensions, color artists, and even I've talked with female business owners who are also in our entrepreneurial energy, brain, mindset about this issue. And it's a very important one that I feel like we're not paying attention to. And it's the idea and the action of getting in valuable nutrition into our meals, into our days, and work days included. And so this is what I've been hearing, and this is what um, stories people have been telling me. I've heard stories about people working long days, not eating breakfast or hardly eating any breakfast, maybe running on just coffee or tea or whatever energy drink they like to drink in the morning, work through lunch, and then they will get in a meal at the end of the day. And it is not just in the beauty industry that this occurs, but it very much affects us on an individual level and as a collective level. So there have been stories that I've heard about of people only getting in maybe a snack in the morning and then eating all their meal at the end, or maybe they feel like they have no time when they get to work and totally skip breakfast and lunch, and just run off of, or just like be drinking coffee or an energy drink throughout the day. And guys, I'm here to tell us that this is not okay. This isn't the way the body was made. This, I'm going to stand firm on this, that it's not okay, and we should really try to stop doing this. Now, I know that there are other aspects that can affect us from getting in our nutrition, and I am not ignoring that. Some of us have kids to take care of in the morning. Some of us have other responsibilities outside of ourselves that other people are relying on us to show up. And so sometimes, or maybe even the majority of the time, our meals end up being a very last thought, even maybe a thought at all. Or maybe we're going through some personal health struggles right now that are affecting us being able to get in nutrition. So I want to speak to all of these aspects in the best way that I can. So, first of all, I feel like it's important for us to know why it's important to get in nutrition. I'm not talking about necessarily nutrition in a way of like, but I ate a cracker, I ate a cucumber, I had toast this morning. That's great. I'm glad that you're getting in some food. But in order for us to have a sustainable business, we also have to have nutrition. In order for you to do your services, you have to get paid, right? Like you're getting paid for your services. Well, let's think of it like this. In order for you to show up for your job, for the work, for your services you provide, you have to fuel yourself. It's like giving yourself money to do your job. Money can be thought of as like just a resource and part of our daily lives. Food is important and also part of our daily lives. Okay, so let's get back to why it's important to get in nutrition and what does it actually do for the body? Well, you have the like ideal type of foods to get in on wherever you are on the spectrum of if you do animal proteins or not, wherever you find yourself on that spectrum of however you get your protein in and which you do not take in, I can speak to all of it. So, it's important for us to get in protein because proteins help strengthen our muscles. It's also part of carrying a lot of important parts to our brain, important nutrients to the brain. Getting in good vegetables. What's a good vegetable? Like something from the produce aisle, from the fresh section in the grocery store. My favorites, well, we'll get to my favorites here, but I just want to mention a few right now, is like squash. I love squash. Salads are more of a thing that you can do. However, not all lettuces or salads are bringing in nutrients to the body. There are even some that all they do really, like your basic lettuce that you use for like a hamburger or a sandwich, those pretty much just hold water. So it's good that you can get in water that way too, especially like through cucumbers. Again, I'm getting too ahead of myself, but let me back up. So veggies are good for the body. Whatever you think of when I say veggies, oh, like asparagus or even like broccoli or cauliflower. I'm talking about veggies in that way, in its freshest state. But by no means, like, it's not like you can't do anything good with a veggie. You can do a veggie a lot of different ways. But getting in veggies, kind of like broccoli, something along the lines of that produce fresh section is good for the body. Again, it brings vital nutrients. Every type of vegetable has a different type of vitamin in it that brings nutrients and essential parts for the bones, the muscles, your organs, and your brain. The most important part of us is our brain because our brain has all these messages inside that it sends to the body for us to do the thing that we're doing out here in this 3D physical world. Even though we can't see the brain, it is like our what's it called? Like the memory of the body. Like you have the memory in your computer or in your phone. It holds a lot of important information. What's also good for the body is greens. So there's a difference between like veggies and important greens for the body, like collard greens or spinach or let me think. Um I said asparagus, broccoli, what else? I think arugula is one of those. I'm not 100% sure, but arugula is one of my favorite to put on pizza. That's just a side note because it has like a yummy, delicious pepperiness about it in my palate. It could be different for you, not sure. So getting in those, and then as well, healthy fats. Healthy fats are like your extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, or even avocados, coconut oil. Coconut oil has this diversity about it in the science world, in the food world, or even on food labels as well. It sometimes is labeled as a, let me think of the word. Um, it's not coming to me right now. It's like one of those harder fats, not a triglyceride. Anyway, coconut oil and the many forms of coconut, it's it is a good fat for the body. It's a valuable one that is also a really good choice. Ones that are not so good, it's going to be like your canola oil or vegetable oil. Um, some peanut oils aren't the best, or honestly, peanut oil in general is not the best, or like the butter that's put on popcorn, not the best for the body, but that doesn't mean that we can't indulge every once in a while. I will be the first to admit that one of my favorite foods to eat, and this may be TMI, but I'm female, so we all get it. When I'm on my cycle, I prefer to have a fried chicken from Chick-fil-A, and those are cooked in peanut oil. And it's one of my absolute favorites. And no, that's not always the best choice, but I don't always eat that. Well, I don't eat it all the time, but I eat it here and there throughout the week. It just kind of depends. Like, by no means, if you're like busy with your kids and the only meal you can think of that's quick and fast is Chick-fil-A or a version of, like, by no means, go for it. I am not here to say that you can't indulge or eat the foods that you do, but I do have, I want to bring an awareness of what is also going to be better for us in the long run. So it's good to have those healthy fats. If you are the type of person that doesn't love a full avocado and you just cannot do it, totally fine. Like I mentioned, they have avocado oil. Avocado oil is one of the best healthy fats that we could get into the body. Now, a couple of things that aren't the best for the body in regards to nutrition are going to be foods that are heavy in sugars or carbs. Now, I do love a good avocado toast. And the base of an avocado toast is bread. And yes, it is made of carbs. Carbs are not bad for the body. It just needs to be kind of like a limited amount, but not in a limitation aspect where we're punishing ourselves for having it. I love a good bag of popcorn and I will eat the whole thing myself. That is a carb. And I indulge in that every once in a while. But even sandwiches that have a lot of bread in them. So what happens when a carb, like a bread, for example, is digested on a molecule level? It basically just ends up being a sugar, like a white sugar at the end of the day. And if our body is in a very stressed state, then that all turns into fat. And majority of the time, it goes to the places where we don't love it. But if we're in survival mode, like back in the day when we would all, well, not me, but back in the day, ancestor wise, they had to live off survival mode for a while. And maybe sometimes um, nutrition wasn't always readily available. And so the body stored fat in areas if they ever had to like run or escape from something, some danger. The body stores it in the most important places, which is around the gut and the legs, because if you need to run, you need to have strong legs. Where else? For women, also in the breasts, because the breasts were part of an important part to give nutrients to babies. So, in regards to that, no, that type of those areas now aren't like our favorite for fat to go to, but that usually is the top places that it tends to go. Now, for each person, it's gonna be different because we all have, and we all like, what am I trying to say? We are not all chemically made the same. We don't all look the same. Like we're all very different when it comes to where the where the fat goes in the body the most, because it could actually be different for you. But generally speaking, that's where it tends to go. So, getting in good healthy fats is important. And carbs, we were on carbs. Another one that's not the best to indulge in the most would be like sweets, cookies, or very, very sweet ice creams. Anything that's like very, very sweet that we're eating the majority of the time. Sugar will digest as to sugar and then it can turn into fat. However, the brain does use sugar. The complete name of, oh, glucose. That's the word I was looking for. Your brain uses glucose for energy, but it doesn't need glucose as the majority of your meal in order to function. It can take glucose from the toast that you eat or the oatmeal you eat. It can take it from also veggies. And if proteins are no longer needed, I believe it can also turn into glucose. I might be wrong on that. I'm not sure. But the brain can get the glucose that it needs as long as we're getting in nutrition throughout the day. And it can also get it from, the sweetener we use in our coffees or energy drinks or even teas. And even the dairy we drink, glucose is in there as well. If you're drinking a dairy-based milk, if you're using a dairy-based milk in any type of form, the brain can get some glucose from there as well. So we were talking about sugars. So, sugar was one of my hardest ones to let go of. It honestly took me years to let that be the least amount that I'm intaking every day, because I used to have gosh, it's been years, but I think I used to have like maybe 2 to 3 scoops of ice cream a night. My usual snack to go to was like fruits and veggies and cheeses, and getting too much fruits. That's also an important thing. Like it is good to eat fruits, but having fruits and things as the majority of the part of our snack or meal isn't the best if it's too much. Now, what is too much and too little? That's for you to take into account. If we're eating a full basket of strawberries or blueberries or more than an apple or an orange, probably a little too much. However, that doesn't mean that's wrong, because also our bodies, if it's telling us, hey, I'm kind of craving some apples right now or some strawberries, that's okay. Eat that. As you learn your body, you'll learn what's good and not good for your body and what's too much. So, getting in veggies is, and I mean, fruits is valuable as well. It definitely doesn't have to be something you completely take out of your diet. However, when it comes to sugars, it is valuable to decrease that, because in times, and I'm also still doing some more research on it, but I have noticed in my body around this winter time, especially in the northern hemisphere, when it's the November, December, January, February timeframe, if I'm overindulging in sugars, and it's hard during this time too, because we just came out of holiday season where there is a plethora of sweets to choose from. It's hard to like not eat those as much because the body loves it. It tastes so good on the tongue that it's like, why not eat it? But when we let go of that just a little bit, our bodies become strengthened and better able to fight off infections or viruses or any kind of flu or sickness that comes up in the body. But sugars can actually weaken our immune system, and it can weaken our defenses and capabilities within the body to fight off those things that are not good for us. So that's why it's important to decrease our sugars, and I would say it's very important to increase our protein amounts. The average protein amount I eat is anywhere from 4 to 6, maybe even 8 ounces, just kind of depending on where you are at on intake of food, and if you are choosing to do a diet, you may be on a certain type of amount to eat for proteins, but I think in general it's good to have more proteins than carbs. Also, it's important to drink water throughout the day. Very important to drink water. The formula I use to remember that of how much is the amount of water I need to drink, because what is taught to us in school, even from like, what was that, like food pyramid we were taught in school? I remember being taught of like drinking so many 8 ounces of water, 8 ounces or like a glass of water a day. It can vary between each person. So here it is. You take your, and with loving kindness and not angry with yourself, let go of the number. You take the number of how much you weigh and you divide that by 2. And then that's going to be the amount of ounces you drink for water. So just depending on that number will determine how much you need to drink. Now, I keep a 40-ounce water bottle with me every day. I drink a lot of water, and I'll probably fill it up maybe anywhere from once another time. If it's already full in the morning, I'll refill it one more time, or I'll fill it up to maybe 3 in a day. So I could be getting in 80. What's 80 plus another 40? That's 90, 100, 120, 140 ounces of water in a day. However, that does make us pee. It makes me pee a lot. And that is okay, because part of the systems in your body is to let go, to excrete the chemicals or the things that our body doesn't need. And it has to go out one way or another. And so personally, I'd rather pee it out. I would rather pee it out than not have enough water where I get even possibly a UTI by holding my pee all day. Now, if that's you, I hold you with loving kindness, and it's okay, because it is a process to getting good nutrition. Okay, so depending on where you are at in your life right now, whether you have kids, whether you are just working a lot, whether you're dealing with different health challenges right now, listen to what we're about to dive into, because I want to go over some easy meal hacks that we can start doing right now. And I want you to go into these next few moments with curiosity, with a sense of like, okay, we could try this and see how it goes, and just hold it with non-hard expectation of like, this is how it's supposed to work for you. Because no, your body is different than mine. I can only pull from the knowledge I have, the research I've done, and how I've kind of gone about my own nutrition, and see if it can help you. Now, I am the type of person that is always trying to find new and better ways and more fun ways to get in nutrition, so that it doesn't feel like something that I have to do. I enjoy eating my food or drinking my nutrition with pleasure and delight and joy. So I want us to walk into this next part of the conversation with just like a curiosity of like, I wonder if that could work for me. And then if you try it and it works, continue with it. Perfect. That's awesome. I'm so glad we found something that works for you. However, if it doesn't, then allow your brain to come up with some more ideas of what could work for you. But I challenge you to not completely shut it down. Let's see how you can get in some really good nutrition so that you can be the bomb ass bitch you are at the job that you do in this career field, so that you can show up, number one, for yourself, and number two, for everyone else outside of you. Because we know it to be true that we are the type of people that will go out of our way for everyone else. And then we forget about ourselves at the end of the day. And then we're irritated and frustrated and just like want to be shut off from everything. So if we can incorporate taking care of ourselves even just a little bit more this week, the next week, or just for a focus of today, then that's enough. Okay, so let's hop in. I am going to give us suggestions and ideas for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and I believe even some snacks. So, let's dive in. For breakfast, depending on your schedule, you may have either a little bit of time or not enough time, or maybe you even do have a plenty of time to sit down. Wherever you find yourself in the morning and wherever you may be, we can still get in nutrition. So let's start with protein shakes. If maybe you're a mom, or you start work early, or maybe if you're struggling with some health challenges right now, protein shakes are a really good way to start, because you can take them on the go. You can slowly drink them or toss them in the fridge to come back to it later. And my favorite is the Evolve brand. It's spelled EVOLVE. They have chocolate and vanilla flavors, and this is not a paid advertisement. This is just my free opinion headed for you. So, Evolve has chocolate and vanilla. My personal favorite is the vanilla because you can always dress it up with like strawberry or some kind of other flavoring. However, did I ever try adding strawberries in my vanilla one? No, but it sounds like a really good idea. Um, if you don't know that brand or haven't seen that brand, haven't ever heard of it or whatever, uh, check out your grocery store and check out what they may have for already made protein shakes. I would say a good goal for the protein amount is to get in 20 grams of protein. That's about 4 ounces. That doesn't mean that what's provided in your bottle, if it says it's 4 ounces or 8 or whatever it may be, that you're getting in 4 ounces or 20 grams of protein. Pay attention to the label and look where it says like protein. If it says like 8 or 10, if it says like around 10, then we may need to drink another one, but we can work on getting there. Just drinking one is enough. So 10 grams of protein is probably just going to provide you with maybe, I'm sorry, 10 grams is probably just going to provide you with about 2 ounces of protein. And it's important to get in protein in the mornings. Now, wherever you may be on the, like I mentioned, the spectrum of protein, if you intake in non-animal protein, there are some out there that are plant-based. There's PEA, pea protein. There is all types of different versions. I mean, there are even animal-based. There's even collagen protein that's out there. Wherever you may be, I challenge you to find a shake that works best for you if your morning time tends to be very crunched and you ain't got time to sit down. So let's start there. If you have time in the morning, then you could try making your own protein shake. Now, the following ideas comes from Kelly LeVeque, I believe that's her name, with the Body Love book. In her book, she suggests she has two different books. One has like a diary journal version, and one is just like some content and then recipes. I have both. The Body Love is a great way to navigate getting in nutrition with a non-harsh attitude about it. And like a very, I would say, more lenient, go with the flow energy type of way. And I highly suggest that book. So in her suggestions for like a protein shake, she suggests first starting out with a milk, preferably a non-dairy milk. That's usually what she suggests for. But if you're still doing dairy, that's totally fine. Your base can be a milk product or water. My favorite is honestly like an oat milk or even a coconut almond milk blend. Then you want to get in your protein. Now, protein powder, preferably. It could be an animal product or non. I personally do collagen protein powder, and you could also do a vegan protein in that as well. Then you want to get in a healthy fat, like we talked about, avocado oil or whatever oil works best for you. You could even do coconut. And then you're going to put in there some good fiber like chia seeds or even flax seeds or milled, I think it's called milled flax. So basically, the job of chia seeds and flax is to make sure that we're getting good digestion in, which is also a valuable part about eating greens in our veggies to make sure that we're using the bathroom because chia seeds and flax will definitely make you need to use the bathroom, and that's its job. As well, side note, chia is made to help you hold water in your gut. And there were runners, Olympian runners, who would have chia seeds in their snacks or protein shakes, however they had it, which helped them for long runs when they needed to have water in them, but not constantly have to drink it. So chia seeds is very helpful. And then if you're still like, you are more than welcome to, but don't have to, you can put in a small amount of like a fruit. I love doing like a banana and a strawberry type of thing. But you could take it however and roll with it, which with whatever fruits you'd like to do or sweetness level, but not more than your well, I would say play with it, but you don't want it to be very, very sweet, like a mild sweetness, because we don't want the sugar taking or out powering the other nutrients that are more important. You can also get like frozen instead of fresh. That way they last longer. If you have even more time, you could definitely sit and make a breakfast that has plenty of protein. Um, and you could do avocado toast, whatever way you'd like to play with it and have fun with it so you can enjoy your meal. Definitely, you could even make those beforehand, have it ready to go. Or if you feel like you don't want to prepare a breakfast, you can always shoot for like a pre-made breakfast from the grocery store that would make you feel fuller for longer. And that's the goal here. Get in our nutrients and then be full for as long as possible so that maybe we could go until about 2 o'clock and then have like a midday break to then maybe get in a snack or a lunch. Speaking of lunch, let's jump right in. We can follow the same kind of ideas we just went over for breakfast of either we're doing a protein shake or we're making it ourselves, or we can sit down and have a meal. Either way, or we can also like buy pre-made meals from the grocery store that we can easily toss in a lunchbox or a freezer or however you can keep your foods warm or cold for on the go. Then when it does come to being able to, if you're going to be able to eat your breakfast or your lunch, I would suggest maybe having about a 10 to 15-minute break so that you have maybe a wiggle room to warm up or prepare if any of that is needed to be able to do that, and then have time to sit down and eat, whether it's 5 to 10 minutes. And then even if you're the type of person that doesn't want to prepare any type of meal, have a little bit of time. If you already have your protein shake made ahead, and if you just need to whisk it up or whatever that may be, shake it up, whatever that is for you, have a little bit of time so you can do that, or maybe even take a small break while you drink your protein shake. Or if just already having a protein shake made that you bought from the store, grab that and then maybe as well have some time to sit down or stand without movement or whatever may work for you. Go outside or whatever to enjoy that meal and have like a breath or a moment of pause within your day. Now, when it comes to dinner, that's a whole other animal because there's probably more people involved. And that is totally understandable if maybe, for example, your kids only eat like chicken nuggets and french fries, or if they're super picky eaters. Like, whatever you're eating, this is my biggest goal for you. Whatever you may be eating for dinner, sit down, drink your water, enjoy your meal, and rest. That is the goal. Ultimate A plus, you get golden star would be to sit there for 15 minutes while you're eating, just slowly intake your food, and then enjoy the rest of your evening by relaxing so that your tummy can then allow all those nutrients you just ate to go to the rest of the body. That is my biggest goal for you. And I believe that you can absolutely 100% do that. However, we can start with smaller goals of reaching up to like the 15, maybe even 20-minute mark of sitting down and eating our food. Let's start with 5 minutes. Then let's go to 10, then 15, and then maybe even 20. And maybe even you could try each day or even each week of sitting there for a little bit more time. Because what we're doing is we're getting the nervous system to get used to you in a state of rest and in a state of calm. Because for the majority of us, the day is pretty busy. It's like go, go, go. So when we sit down for dinner, the body is like, what? What are we doing right now? So that's why I suggest doing a little bit of time and increasing our amount of time, maybe each day or even each week, and just make a goal for each week to sit for dinner 5, next week dinner 10, and so forth. So I want to touch on real quick snacks. My personal go-to snacks is gonna be like maybe like some deli meat, some vegan cheese, and like a gluten-free cracker. However, my dietary restrictions are dairy-free and gluten-free, and I have to avoid garlic and onion. So it is a little more limited. And when I do suggest things, you can take them in a way of whatever works best for you. Um, those are my go-to. It's just like a little dairy-free cheese. When I mean a little, I mean like the Baby Bella's cheese that's in that waxed wrapping. Well, it's like plastic wrapping and then a wax. And I eat those maybe like one or two, and then I'll have like crackers, like a whole grain with grain cracker type of thing. And definitely I'll eat like more deli meat than the cheese itself or the cracker, because I know my brain needs a little more energy. So I'll usually go towards protein as a snack than like a drink. I'll probably also like sometimes I'll have like a less sweet lemonade to go with that to just kind of incorporate some fun in my palate and not always go to um like tea or coffee or like a decaf something. So that like I love enjoying food. Like I am a foodie at heart, and I absolutely love incorporating fun little snacks throughout my workday. Um, if you have any questions at all with what we just went over, please feel free to shoot me a DM, or you can even email us at healingourindustry.com. And it is so helpful to get reviews and likes and follows so that we can reach more people that are just like you. And feel free to share this podcast with friends, family members, or those people you know would absolutely need to hear this podcast. Thank you all for hanging out with me today, and I look forward to hanging out next week. Bye bye.